Okay, recording.
All right. Hello, welcome to another episode of Drop Third Strike with myself, Terry Gant in Chicago, Illinois, and my podcast partner, Beth Davy-Stofka in Denver, Colorado.
Hi
Hey, Beth.
there, Terry. Hi.
How are you?
I'm pretty good.
How many feet of snow did you get in the last week?
Well, if it had been snowing, it would have been a lot, but instead it was raining.
Okay,
So
all right.
it's a really, really great change. And it's fun because it doesn't actually rain this much in May normally.
Right.
And what's happened is that it has moved to the Front Range so your side of the mountains almost to normal levels. And so instead of, we were in extreme drought. First we were in, oh my God, drought. And then we moved to drought. And then we moved to severe drought. But now we're just kind of up to normal. And
normal drought.
Yeah. Not even normal drought, like normal water tables.
Oh, okay, good.
So, yeah. And so hopefully that'll last.
Okay.
Awesome. It's not the case on the we're the eastern slope. It's not the case on the western slope. So you go to the other side of the mountains, go over the Continental Divide and go down. Oh, they're in bad shape. They're in really bad shape. So it's not like we're going to be out of wildfire danger. I don't think we'll ever be there again, but it's not going to be.
This is like the only time I ever really get to hear about the Continental Divide. No other conversation do I ever have. Does the Continental Divide ever come up? So like, I like to know what's going on at the mountain level, because the weather hits there and then it hits here, right? So it's kind of like, you got 7 inches of snow once at a point in which here in Chicago, we were like, all right, we're done with winter. You got like literally another blizzard happen. And then it was gone in a few days, I think, but here it'd be like, damn it, like just enough of this already.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about how we didn't see too much baseball last week. Yeah. The last 2 weeks have been really weird for me because, so a week before this past one, on Wednesday, I had the second dose of the Moderna vaccine.
Okay.
And I don't want anybody to not get a vaccine because this is really crucial. And I'm very happy I did it, but severe reaction. I mean, it was unbelievable. It was so funny because I fooled myself, right? I had the vaccine at 2:00 in the afternoon. And when I went to bed, I was like, oh, I'm out ahead of this. I've had some ibuprofen. I feel fine. Yeah, I'm fine. And I woke up at 3 a.m. and it's like, oh yeah, I'm really handling this well. I'm just fine, a little achy. It took a little more ibuprofen. By like 7, 8 o'clock the next morning. It was like not only just being hit by a truck, but it just keeps, backing over you.
Yeah.
Right across the rib cage. It was so crazy. It was bad enough. Like there was one point where I was hungry and I went to the top of the stairs. And I'm like, nope, can't do them. And went back and lay down. So
like in your house, your bedrooms are upstairs, and you have to go downstairs where the kitchen is.
Yeah, exactly.
So you just did not want to do the stairs. Okay,
nope,
that's fair.
Nope, didn't really feel like I could. If I thought I could have gotten down, I could have just stayed downstairs, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't think I could get down them, so I gave up on that. And that went on for into the night. That night, and it was like weird because it was almost like this reset of my life, so that there was this before and after, and of course I think about baseball like all the time. And when I was starting to recover on the Friday, I was like, this is like a whole new world for me. I don't even know what's been going on in baseball, but it's all different now.
Yeah.
Even though as far as baseball was concerned, nothing had happened, but as far as my personal life was concerned, everything had happened. And then this past week, I saw a ton of baseball, but it was what I was talking to you about before. When you're grading, baseball is like a great thing to watch while you're grading. This past week was final grades. And so I did so much grading that I can tell you I saw a lot of baseball, but it was all sort of more like images.
Okay.
And actual plays or events or games or anything else. I would just see beautiful things. Like I would see replays of stolen bases, and I would see beautiful home runs arcing through the air, and the colors.
I think we're in the same boat. I watched a lot of I didn't catch a lot of things from games for some reason because of busyness or whatever, but I watched a lot of YouTube videos about weird things that have happened in baseball historically over the last couple seasons, and they were great. I discovered this guy, his YouTube channel is called Jomboy Media, like JOMBOY Media. And he does these analyses of bench clearing brawls and weird things that happen. And his analysis is so great that I was so entertained by it. I must have watched 20 or 30 of his videos last week of just bizarre things that have ever happened in games. You know, like there was one where there was a video of Deion Sanders. Like he referred to as Deion Sanders playing cat and mouse with the opposing pitching. And it started with like Deion Sanders just basically like fouling off pitches and taking pitches and fouling off pitches and eventually getting a walk. And then just causing a pitcher to throw over the first base like 8-9 times before eventually like, you know, trying to steal second and getting thrown out. But it was like Deion Sanders just exhausting people, you know? Like, it's what that was. And I thought, okay, yes, this is what I love about baseball.
Oh yeah.
I love goofy things. And like he had one analysis of Angel Hernandez, who is probably around Major League Baseball thought to be the worst umpire in the entire game of baseball. He had some analysis of Angel Hernandez issues, right? And it was like, holy crap, this guy still has a gig. But yes, unions, right? Unions are good, and there's sometimes a downside because sometimes people keep a job who really probably shouldn't have a job, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's that, you know? Angel Hernandez told there was Angel Hernandez behind the plate. I think it was Jose Ramirez for the Cleveland Indians batting, and Angel Hernandez called Jose Ramirez hit by a pitch when Jose Ramirez didn't think he was hit by a pitch, but he's like kind of standing there, and Angel Hernandez is like, go to first base, and Jose Ramirez is just like, what? Okay, I'll go to first.
I like first. I'm on my way, but why?
First base. But then to contrast that, he showed not Angel Hernandez related. It was Albert Belle, who I remember fondly because Albert Belle, while he was a crazy person in the game, he's just one of the most difficult damn people to deal with. We share a birthday. So I like Albert Belle, right?
Yeah.
And Albert Belle at bat in a game, it's extra innings. Albert Belle has come up to bat and he absolutely wants to hit because he wants to be like, he wants an important hit in this damn game. It's a tie game. He wants to hit. And the pitcher hits Albert Belle with the ball. And Albert Belle's refusing to go to first base. It's like, no, I don't care if he hit me. I'm going to hit.
And I dare you to try to move me. Yeah, I'm a big man.
The umpire's like, go to first base. And he's like, nah, man, that barely touched me. I'm going to hit. Tell him throw it. You can see Albert Belle. He's like, tell him throw the MFing ball over the MFing plate. The catcher's like, man, go to first base. Albert Belle's like, no, I ain't going nowhere. You tell him to throw the MFing ball over the MFing plate. And looks at the pitcher's like, you, throw the ball. Here, throw the ball. Gets to the point, Albert Belle's manager has to come out. I'm pretty sure it's Terry Francona. I think it's Terry Francona having to come out and say to Albert Belle, Albert, go to first base. And Albert Belle's like, F that. I'm not going to first base. I'm not doing it. You tell him to throw the MFing ball over the MFing plate. That's what he needs to do. I'm going to hit. And it turns out I think it's Albert Belle. I think he's an Oriole at this point because of what they finally convinced him to go to first base. And it's Cal Ripken Jr. who comes up and gets a hit and drives in a run. And Albert Belle's still mad about it. Like they won the game. Yeah. You can just see Albert Belle being like, he's ready to fight somebody.
Yeah, yeah. Even Cal Ripken Jr., you got my hit. Yeah.
Yeah, like Cal Ripken owed this man.
Yeah, that was
Albert Belle was just like, no, I am not. We'll go to first base for what? He barely touched me with that
I've
ball.
seen weird things like that happen in tennis. Just weird things. I mean, there's like a I don't know if I've ever seen this in any other sport. Have you? I mean, is baseball particularly amenable to this?
I think it's a baseball thing. Like I can't think of things in other sports. Like in basketball, the closest thing to getting hit by a pitch would be getting a hard foul, right?
Uh-huh.
And like you get a hard foul, there's like a technical foul called or free throws have to happen or something like that. I've not seen a player get a flagrant foul and then the referee say, take a technical foul shot or whatever, and a player just be like, I don't need a technical foul shot. Let's just go play ball. Like I've seen players get fouled and not make a big deal about it, but I've not seen a player not take a free throw, let's say, because they're fouled. At the point in which you get an ability to get some free points with no time taken off the clock, usually you're gonna accept that.
Yeah, right.
in football, I guess if there's penalties, teams decline penalties but there's some other advantage, right? They're going to decline a penalty if somehow in the commission of the penalty, the team still did something good. Then it's like, yeah, okay, thank you, whatever. You got it. That team earned a penalty or whatever. We're still going to advance. Like, but no one usually says, no, we're not going to kick the field goal. We're not going to accept this interception. We want it would be like that. It would be like if a team threw an interception and the team who caught the interception gave them the ball back and was like, no, screw that. We want to knock the ball out of the air. We don't want the interception. So I don't it's weird.
Yeah.
For a player to be like, hell no, I'm not taking a base.
Yeah.
I want to get a hit.
Well, and even the whole phenomenon of a player just making a stand and saying, hell no, I'm not doing that. It's just.
And it's funny because it's actually not, you would think maybe it should be optional, right? Yeah. He hits you with the ball. Do you want to stay here and hit again? Or do you want first base? And the player's because to the player in baseball, Legion of Fan, if you don't realize it, if you're hit by a pitch or if you're walked, it's not an official at bat.
Right.
You don't get credited for an at bat. And sometimes in the contract, there'll be something like, we'll pay you an extra $500,000 if you make 400 at bats this season. Well, if it comes down to you having 380 at bats, right? You don't want to walk and you don't want to get hit. You want to actually hit the ball or you want to strike out. Because you'd rather strike out, it's still an at bat. But it's not an at bat if you're walked or if you're hit, right?
Right.
So that matters at that point, it's in September, and this is what it was, a September game, right? Yeah. It may have mattered to Albert Belle, but I know he wasn't thinking about his contract so much. He had to be thinking, I want to annihilate the ball on this dude. I want to demoralize him somehow, and he freaking hit me, right?
Yeah. Which is an attitude I can totally get behind. There's a logic to it being an automatic thing, just being a rule. I mean, of course, it's a rule that if you get walked or hit by a pitch, you go to first base because there is strategic advantage to having a guy.
Yes.
That is almost like binary. It's like no advantage if nobody's on first, 100% advantage if somebody's on first. And then that number starts to diminish or increase depending on, what happens after. But it's so unthinkable that somebody would not want to take the base because it's free, that it's probably just like a given, like they took it for granted when they put it in the rules. And so to see somebody fight back, it's like, what you don't want that. And I can see where maybe it becomes a contract issue working into September, but what does your team think of you?
Yeah.
If you're refusing to take first.
And it's got to be, maybe, I'm imagining it's got to be 50-50, right? Like your team is like, bro, get on base already. We need a base runner, right? But your team is also like, that dude is so hardcore.
It's kind of inspiring.
He's comically hardcore. If that's the case, the next day in the batter's box in batting practice, I got to be like, I got to take extra batting practice. I got to, I got to swing another 20 balls.
Yeah.
Albert Belle got hit by a ball and he's just like, nope, I'm not going. Yeah. Right? Like if he's that much in the hitting in that situation, damn it, I can't. I gotta give me another 20 minutes up here.
Right, right. Step it up. Yeah, it's got to be incredibly inspiring. Yeah.
When you see people in any kind of endeavor, right? Like whatever you do for a living or whatever job you've ever had, when you see somebody who's just like beyond the call of duty, not good at their job, but trying to do the job, but not being annoying, right? Like he's not. Albert Belle wasn't brown nosing in that situation, right? Albert Belle was like, no, this is my job and I'm going to do the job, It's like somebody who's got to mop floors. It's all right, I got to mop these floors, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to mop that floor too. And I'm going to mop that one over there. And no, you don't get to mop the floor. I'm mopping your floor, right?
That is a version of that for sure. What would be the version in your profession of that?
In my profession, so in dealing with comics, I think that there's times in which for sure there's days in which there's a thing I don't want to necessarily do, but I like to do a thing, right? I get calls sometimes to do comic book appraisals and stuff. And it's like, I'll tell somebody, bring me I can't buy your comics, but bring me 25 of what you think are the kind of things that we want to be talking about here, that you want to know the values of. And then some days, somebody will bring me those 25 and, okay, give me 15 minutes or whatever, right? I'll evaluate those. But then there's times which I'm just like, you know what? Bring the comics. Bring them. I'll evaluate all of them. Bring the whole damn thing. And I had a guy just bring me like, you know, he brought me like 4 boxes of like comics he got from his grandfather, and they were like Golden Age and like early Silver Age comics. They're great books, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, like, I think that normally when I would do something like this, pre-COVID, I would probably even come to your house, right?
Yeah, okay.
To like do something like that, right? Like, you know, with materials and all this kind of stuff. Because in my shop is small. I got to use the classroom space to like do something like this. But this is definitely the kind of thing I would normally just do away from the shop. Right. But all of a sudden, in this instance, I was just like, man, yeah, just bring them.
Yeah.
Deal with it. I'll do it. Don't worry, I got this. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to archive these for you. I'm going to like. So now I've got this ongoing project now because I was just so excited, like seeing these books. Oh, but I've also been in situations where people are buying things and they're choosing between one book or the other book, and they're spending like 10 minutes deciding, and I'll just be like, you know what? You're going to buy both of these books. You're buying them both. All right? That's what's going to happen. Then they buy them both.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I've done that. Like, you know, there's sometimes where you just got to be like, I'm going to make a decision. The definitive decision for this situation is you're buying both of these books. Or you know what? You're buying 5, but you're buying 5 books anyway. You're thinking about the 6th book. I know you're thinking maybe 5 is enough, but you know what? You're thinking about the 6th book. Let's get the 6th book. Let's just do it.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Let's go. You gotta enjoy.
Yeah. There's nothing, yeah. I liked being in sales when I was selling things that I felt like I could sell.
Yes.
You know? I remember when I first met Steve, he said, you would be such a good salesperson if you really believed in what you were selling. And it's true, you know, I really, really enjoy that. Yeah. And, but you know, you just made me think about 2 things. One is that you just put me in mind of my husband's grandson, whose name is Aiden. And Aiden is one of the most amazingly extraordinary people I've ever had the pleasure to know. And I know I'm speaking like the proud wife of a proud grandfather, but Aiden really is this incredibly cool person. And I've known him his whole life. So he's probably like, I don't know, 21, 22 right now, but I've known him his whole life. And when he was a kid, he just loved to draw, loved it. And a lot of kids do, right? Yep. He was incredibly good. He loved Naruto, and all of his Naruto art was just, I mean, it was good enough to be included in the show. It was so precise and visionary. And one day they were visiting because they live in California, and I took him to the comic book store, and I said, Aiden, I will buy you anything and everything you want. You just, you know, just while it's open, doors to the store are open. Here's a store full of comic books, manga, you know, books, graphic novels. You just get what you want.
How old was he when this happened?
He got like 3 things.
Oh.
And I kept telling him, seriously, dude, I will get you more than 3 things.
And how old was the kid?
I think he was 9.
Okay, yeah.
And he was like, nope, that's all I want. Just these 3 things. I'm like, seriously, you know what? Like this, and no, he's like, nope, just want these 3 things. So
my grandfather, when I was a kid, I got him to take me to the comic shop. I'd been there once before with a friend. I knew it was far away. I knew how to get there because I remembered the route to get there. And I was just a kid, and my granddad it was my birthday or something. He's like, all right, you want to go to the comic store? We're going to the comic store. My granddad had never seen a comic store, right? Wow. He knew I was really into comic, but he'd never been in a comic book specialty shop before. And we walked in, and I was like, hot damn, I'm in here. This is awesome. He's like, I'm going to get whatever you want, kid. Get whatever you want. I was like, okay. And I was not like that kid. I went crazy. I was DC Comics, Marvel Comics. There were independent books. I bought First, Eclipse, Kamiko. I just made stacks.
Wow.
Right? And because I was, you know, like back then, this is when comics are like, you know, 60 cents, 75 cents a piece, you know? Uh-huh. And I found like Marvel had like their version of the graphic novel at the time, like the Death of Captain Marvel had come out. So I got that. And when they rang them up, my granddad was like, how much did this kid just cost me? And because to my granddad, comic books were like, you know, 12, 15 cents, right?
Oh, that's right.
He not realized that the price had gone up. And even like by today's terms, these books sound almost free to my mind.
Oh, yeah.
Right. But for like, you know, like early 80s terms, right? To someone who'd bought them in the 50s and 40s, like this isn't the same thing, you know? So like I was thrilled. And every time we went to the comic shop, he was like, whatever. I was like, okay, here I go. I bought books of characters I didn't even care about. You know, I wasn't a big Spider-Man fan, but Spider-Man covers look a lot better when somebody else is paying. You know?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I get parents like that with students who, like, prospective students are coming, they're looking at the schools, so they're eighth grade, they're high school seniors, they're graduating, they're coming possibly to Loyola, and then, you know, somebody would be like, yeah, whatever you want, I'll get it, you know, and then the kid would just pick out two things, and the mom would be like, that's all you want in this entire shop full of comics? And the kid's like, yeah, I just want these two. And then me and my neighbor were often like, what in the hell, kid? Like,
I know, right? I know. Well, I really admired Aiden for his parsimony, I suppose I would
his
say.
restraint.
I really admired him for that.
Or he's just that he's very focused on what he likes. He has this is his lane right here.
Exactly.
And he's gonna stay in it.
And that focus is so paying off. I'll brag about him a little bit because he wound up at a I forget what the name of the school is, but it's a arts and design school in California, in Southern California, and the Disney Corporation recruits from there. And see, what Aiden always wanted to do, he would always tell everybody that he wanted to design theme parks and design rides for theme parks and stuff. And that's actually what he's gone to college to do. Is
cool.
And he's starting an internship at the one in Florida, Disney World.
Okay, I guess
he's starting an internship this month.
Yeah.
So that's where focus will get you, kids. Stay in school.
Yeah.
And be focused. And
be nerdy.
It's incredible.
It's also okay if you're not, right? Like, well, we were watching something about procrastination.
Yeah.
Procrastination is not actually a weakness. Procrastination is an anxiety issue. Yeah. Right? Like, think about it like that instead of thinking about it like you're a failure or like, you know, you screw something up or you're lazy or whatever. It's not. There's a different kind of thing happening there that is more connected to anxiety than anything else. Yeah. Like, yeah, so like you can have that lack of focus. It doesn't mean that there's something actually wrong with you. Right. It means that there's something else you might need to be dealing with. Right. You know, so that's like let's address that thing.
I'm like probably the most accomplished procrastinator I have ever met.
I think that's true. You might be the most accomplished procrastinator I've ever met. Yeah.
And it's no surprise that it's an anxiety thing. And somehow I get there. Somehow or other I get there.
And it's like, you know, your entire life, right? Like you spend your life dealing with these issues, but you get to where you need to go. Yeah. Just keep going.
Yep. Somehow or other. Yeah. Just keep going. That's it. You know, or that thing where you just show up. This is somewhat related to baseball in the sense that there's this kind of like thing where Mookie Betts reminds me so much of aforementioned grandson, whose name is Aiden. They have such similar faces that whenever I see Mookie Betts, I just kind of get this surge of love. And then before I remember that I'm looking at Mookie Betts and not Steve's grandson.
And the Dodgers now, like Mookie Betts is like, this is one of these things where also like where you're dealing with adversity, right? The Dodgers have the adversity. They have lots of injuries. Yes. Half the team seems like they're injured, and Mookie Betts hasn't become Mookie Betts yet, right? But you know you've got talent. You know you've got skill. You've done a thing before. They in fact won the World Series during COVID year. So like they have succeeded, right? So you just have to keep plugging away because it will come around for you because you didn't just forget how to play baseball.
Oh, exactly. I was thinking about that this morning. You know, we had started before we were recording talking about seeing a lot of people get injured in the last, week or two. Do you know, I have gotten in the habit of when I wake up in the morning, I launch the MLB.com app on my phone.
Oh, sure. Okay.
But my thing isn't to find out what the latest is in baseball. My thing is to find out what the latest injury list is. I'm like, I actually pick it up and I go to push it. Let's see who got hurt.
I look at my fantasy team and I'm thinking, oh man, when I see the crawl go across ESPN or MLB and I'm looking at my fantasy team, I'm like, none of those names be my names. Yeah. But the bug got me. Carson Kelly, my catcher, Carson Kelly. He's on the injured list. So I had to pick somebody up. But I had to wait until last night to do it so they'd be in my lineup today. Okay. So I kind of cleverly waited. I was clever in my opinion. I cleverly waited until the games were over in my league, and I didn't win or lose. I tied, but I was like, all right, good. Games with Yan Gomes. Yan Gomes of the Nationals, and I'm very happy to have Yan Gomes.
He's being very good right now.
He really is being very good.
He's being very good.
I'm thrilled to have Yan Gomes on my team now. Oh yeah. Because Yan Gomes is he's an old Tampa Bay Ray in my head, right? But he's also like now he's found himself. I always think every year is Yan Gomes' last year. I feel like Yan Gomes has been in the league 20 years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But he's having a great year.
Who had what appeared to be a case of the yips in one of the Dodgers World Series appearances?
I think so.
Yeah, because I was so surprised to see him playing the following year. I think the Dodgers had, I don't think he's with the Dodgers anymore. I think he was with the Twins, maybe, I forget. But every time he pops up, I'm like, that's cool, because nobody held that against him. That was obviously a one-off. That wasn't a persistent thing.
Right.
That was just whatever was going on that season.
I think also John Lester might be over the inability to throw to first base.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
You're right.
For a while, John Lester could not throw the ball. I think he's throwing the ball to first base.
Yeah.
He could not throw the ball to first base.
Yeah, and everybody was like, haha. But I don't know how much they actually stole off him, but he because we just have to have a catcher who can get
which is Wilson Contreras, so it works out. It
works out.
Throw a lot of people out.
And now it's Yan Gomes, and so it could probably still work out. But he doesn't need that anymore, right? Lester got over it.
I think he got over it.
Yeah.
I haven't heard it. I haven't heard mention of it, and I haven't really seen him pitch as a national. But like the other thing is, in the case of John Lester, he's had the benefit of having great second baseman and shortstops to play with defensively, right? Yeah. So even if you're not throwing the ball to first base and someone tries to steal on you, that Javi Baez pickoff situation is really good.
Yeah.
Right. To have to deal with that for a few years. So like Javi Baez was tagging people out without like even like looking at them. He's tagging them out. So in a way, it almost lulls people into a sense of security when like they think they can steal on him because he's not going to throw the ball over to first base. But Wilson Contreras and Javier Baez are absolutely going to be tagging you out. So yeah, it's fine.
That's teamwork. Yeah, we got you, man. We got you. I was seeing stuff. I was seeing some picture on the mound and thinking about how lonely that can be. I am sure. I mentioned it to a student recently who was sick, and I got sick. Like not whatever the first month was of COVID stuff. I got sick. I don't know if I got COVID. I have no idea. There was like a bronchitis influenza thing going around, and I could have easily had that. But I got the point is I got sick, and I got really sick. And I had to keep teaching because, and I told a student that I'm sick. I need an extension, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you are sick. You do need an extension. That's fine. But if I get sick, I have to show up. Nothing happens if I'm not there.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the pitcher's situation too, right? Like if the pitcher doesn't show up and throw a ball, there's no game.
Yeah.
It's like there we are, and I was thinking how lonely that must be because it's so much pressure on you to execute, right? And that when guys make good plays to help you out, Lester's there on the mound, he still has to really execute. You can't just say, oh, well, it's all right because those guys have it.
Right.
That's not the mentality you can have. The mentality has to be, I'm here, I'm by myself, I have to figure this out and I have to get that guy out. And you have the catcher obviously working with you and you've agreed on some signs and strengths and weaknesses, you've looked at this and that, but when it comes down to throwing those pitches, it's on you.
This is also why it is that when Cubs management over the offseason spent a lot of time trying to do damage control over their issues with spending, right? Like they weren't spending to improve, and we knew that basically they were just kind of Fandom kind of got the idea that what they're trying to do is just kind of limp along to see if it's going to be fire sale time come trade deadline, because this is a year they might be trading Chris Bryant, right? Who is now having a phenomenal year.
Yeah.
But what they kept saying was things to the effect of, no, our pitching's fine because we know that the ball's going to get hit around a lot, but, we've got a pretty solid defensive core. And it's like, that's not really what you want to be saying here, right? Your pitching's fine. You just traded Yu Darvish. They were trying to make it sound like it was no big deal they just traded Yu Darvish because there's guys who they'll just catch those balls. Yeah. Is it what? I don't know. That's the way you want to be saying that, man. Like no team at this day and age, the way the baseball is getting hit around, nobody's really looking at it's okay. We can go with mediocre pitching because guys are just catching. That's not what you want to be saying. Weird.
Yeah, kind of weird. Yeah, kind of pretty weird. So yeah, you see their faces when somebody either does handle the ball, like, you manage to ground ball or something, and somebody handles the ball, or doesn't, and you see the look on the pitcher's face. I mean, they're very sympathetic to whatever. I know you're not supposed to be overly demonstrative because you want to make sure that you're not telling your shortstop, you suck.
Yes. Why didn't you get there?
Yeah. But
how'd you throw the ball into the first row?
Yeah. So tell me, because I haven't had a chance to talk to you about this, how is it that you got Machado and Cronenworth onto your fantasy team? Like, I wondered if somebody like had just resigned in your league and like all this.
No. Well, Machado was my second pick. So my first pick was Juan Soto.
Okay.
And that was against my judgment. Like I could have drafted Mike Trout and I didn't. I purposely drafted. This was the year I decided I was going in on Soto. I did not realize that both the Nationals would end up with a COVID outbreak to begin the season, and Soto would also get hurt. So Soto's had a slow start, but Soto was my first pick, and then Machado, I'm pretty sure, was my second round pick. And I think that kind of more or less made sense because there's a lot of talent, like in the first, say, 30 players. The best 30 players, Machado's easily one. So it turns out in our league, people thought Machado was like a top 15. So it was that, and honestly, before Machado were between my picks, it was Mike Trout came after me because I picked Soto, then Garrett Cole, Trey Turner, Jose Ramirez, Christian Yelich, Trevor Story, Trevor Bauer, Bryce Harper, then Machado.
Okay.
I was a little surprised that I got Machado because I really did figure that the guy who picked in front of me wouldn't have picked Harper and would have picked Machado, right? And then after that was Giolito, Freddie Freeman, Yu Darvish, Lindor, and then Aaron Nola to finish out the second round. Okay. I thought that Aaron Nola went a bit early. Like that seemed odd to me, but like apparently Aaron Nola is that good. I just don't know that he's like in the second round good. Third round, I probably wouldn't have made an argument with it. Then is Max Scherzer, Adalberto Mondesi, Cody Bellinger, Walker Buehler, Salvador Perez, Alex Bregman was my pick, Bo Bichette, Anthony Rendon, Clayton Kershaw, and Luis Castillo. To me, 5 of those players are like second round guys, right? Like,
agreed.
Like Cody Bellinger, Walker Buehler, Alex Bregman, Max Scherzer, right? Anthony Rendon. Those don't seem like third round talents to me. No. So that's where I picked Alex Bregman because I figured, what, Bregman's still here. What the hell? Like, why not? Like, I had targeted Bellinger because I knew he was still out there, and Scherzer as I hadn't picked a pitcher, right? Okay. So at this point, I hadn't picked any starting pitcher. That's why I went Bregman. And then we get into the 4th round, and Corey Seager was on my mind, but he hadn't fallen to me yet. Xander Bogaerts went, Jack Flaherty went, Blake Snell went. I was thinking pitching at this point, but I also realized Jose Abreu was still sitting there and he like MVP. So why not? I got an MVP in the 4th round. I didn't pick a pitcher until the 5th. So after Jose Abreu, it's Corbin Burns, Nolan Arenado, Rafael Devers, Luis Robert, Lance Lynn. I think some of those might have been reaches. Yeah. Like someone could have gotten Lance Lynn later. Someone could have gotten Luis Robert later. And now the dude's injured anyway. In my opinion, somebody even could have gotten Rafael Devers later. But they picked him early. So then Brandon Woodruff, Whit Merrifield, and Starling Marte start the 5th round. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Goes next. Then Pete Alonso. And I was okay with all that because I'd already had power hitting first baseman wrapped up. I picked Zach Greinke then.
Okay.
Right. So that's the first time I get a pitcher, and thinking now I've got power, I should get more pitching. Tyler Glasnow goes next, then Ozzie Albies, Marcelo Zuna, Kenta Maeda, Steven Strasburg, who I was considering, Randy Arozarena, Kyle Tucker, DJ LeMahieu. I picked Patrick Corbin.
Are you bummed about that?
A little bit, only in that like slow start, and currently he's on paternity leave, so he's not injured. He just is on the. He's just kind of day-to-day not playing, right?
Right.
So that's kind of like where I probably should have gone pitching in the 7th round again, but I picked Max Muncy. And just looking at the other pitchers going who would have come after that point, we were still picking position players at this point, right? In the I picked Adam Duvall in the 8th round because somehow I was really impressed with his hitting in the postseason last year, and I ended up having to drop the dude. His start was so slow, it just really bothered me. But in the 9th round, I got Zach Plesac.
Okay.
So there's the way people were picking, there was still plenty of pitching to be had, in that everyone was still picking middle of the road power guys, and I got Corey Kluber in the 10th round. So like, I just at that point started focusing on my pitching. My pitching has started slow this year.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of like the first 10 rounds. I started with position player, position player, position player, position player, and then went with 2 pitchers back to back, got another couple of position players, and then some more pitching. So I thought I was doing good. And honestly, if it weren't for like, I bet if you, I don't know, went and looked at the, whatever the Farmer's Almanac is for what 2021 looks like around the United States of America in 2021, what the weather and temperatures are like, it was cold everywhere.
Yes, it really was.
And here we are like mid-May and it's still cold.
Yes.
Right? Some guys are coming around. So I'm not concerned about the slow starts for Plesac and Kluber, and like Kluber's playing for the Yankees. So it's kind of like, I was also thinking like some situations, like some teams are going to hit, right? They're just going to at some point, and some teams are going to be around in the playoffs. So I was looking at like, I didn't pick too many, like, at least I didn't think I was picking pitchers in bad offensive situations, so picking people who are playing for the Nationals, fine. Dodgers, fine. Like I had Dustin May, but Dustin May is now gone, like there's guys that like, I thought they're in good situations. I'll go with that,
Yeah.
It's kind of my pitching philosophy, especially since they seem to still be out there while guys are busy. I didn't worry too much about like someone having picked Trent Grisham, but Trent Grisham went after I'd already picked Ian Happ. And I was thinking Ian Happ, given the situation he had last year, probably a good situation for Ian Happ going in this year. And then after that, I went relief pitching. I picked Ryan Presley for Houston. Not realizing, and I might regret this one, is I picked Ryan Presley. Chris Bryant went in the 12th round in our league.
Oh, wow.
Right? 2 picks after me. So like, had I known, and I realized Chris Bryant was still sitting out there, like I wouldn't have picked Ian Happ, right? I would have just picked Chris Bryant. But like, that's what fantasy baseball drafting is like, is there's sometimes you just like, your brain is on, I have that position filled, and you're not often. Sometimes I was like, oh my God, no one picked this dude yet. And then I drafted him. But like, I remember when Chris Bryant went, I was like, holy shit, he's still sitting out there? Wow.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that sounds like fun. You're making that sound like fun.
I think draft day is one of my favorite days of the entire season, because it is like a combination of picking guys who traditionally perform at their positions, but also like there's the guys who make you also love baseball. You're hoping to be able to draft them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing does happen. And then there's guys that like, I just, for whatever reason, I'm probably never going to pick, in that like, I just don't believe in that dude. And it might be a perfect, like Rafael Devers is a guy that for some reason, I'm just never like, I really hope I get Rafael Devers. In my mind, I want to pick 5 other third basemen before I get to Rafael Devers. Yeah. I don't want to be leaning on Rafael Devers, and the guy's a good player, right? But he just, for whatever reason, doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that all the time, and there's just guys around the league who are that way. Like I remember Christian Yelich not being an MVP, right? But now that he's an MVP level player, it bugs me that like, damn it, he just got drafted for, I don't know, like not a lot. So he got traded to the Milwaukee Brewers, and now he's 90 miles up the road, and that dude's an awesome player. Like the Cubs or Sox could have had Christian Yelich for what he was traded for. Yeah, I believe, like it turns out that guy's a really good player. But when he first got traded, I was like, that's Christian Yelich. Like, he's not an MVP player. It turns out, yes, he is. It happens.
Yeah. Well, they were talking about him that way when Miami traded him, because there was kind of like this sorrowful feel that Miami had gathered up its best young players, who were like not prospects, but like its actual players, and just sent them out to new horizons. And they were speaking specifically about Christian Yelich. And so when Yelich went to the Brewers, I wound up with these huge expectations of him, which were more than fulfilled.
Yeah.
You know, right now, I'm kind of bummed he's not around. I totally get how how hitters wind up with back problems. Totally.
Yep. There's a lot of violence in a baseball swing.
A lot of violence, yeah. So out of all the players that are out there, this is something else I was thinking about this morning. Out of all the players that are out there, you mentioned something about the guys who just make you really love baseball. Who would you name as your top 5 players that really make you love baseball?
Mike Trout, Javier Baez, like Nolan Arenado. I'm even gonna just look here because I know it even on my, like, Tim Anderson, Alex Bregman. I like fiery middle infielders, right? And like outfielders who do everything, you know. And mostly I'm a position player guy, right? I'm not like a pitching guy because the best pitcher in the league has a bad week, then it feels like they've had a bad month, right? You know. So yeah, like Juan Soto, like I watched that Juan Soto, they did a cover story on him with ESPN, and they were talking about this weird kind of shuffle that he does to try to intimidate pitching, and it's so ridiculous. I loved it.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that thing is stupid.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think you're doing?
Yeah.
But because he does it, I love that.
I have a wonderful photograph of that. I probably need to give the photo credit. So I have this book that somebody gave me for my birthday or for Christmas.
Yeah. Okay.
Man, they got this thing out fast, right? Because I got it for my birthday. So the Nationals win the World Series in what is it, October, 2019.
2019, yeah.
And I get this for my birthday in August 2020. So I mean, they cranked this book out fast. And there is, if I can move this. So yeah, highly recommended book. I think if you were really into the Nationals and you were really following it, it'll kind of capture your imagination. But anyway, here's a Soto.
Yes.
Isn't that something?
He's like a sword fighter.
Legion of Fan, this is not the position from which he's necessarily going to hit.
Absolutely not. He's not going to swing from that position.
Yeah, but that's the awesome guy that is Juan Soto.
That, in fact, is something he does after he's already swung and missed, let's say.
Yeah, that's
right. Or after he's taken a ball, he does that.
And I love the soundbite, the ultimate soundbite from that ESPN story when they asked him, why do you do that? And he said, because, I think somehow it came out, but he said, it's because I think I'm better than they are. And they said, well, are you? And he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And I love thinking that way. You don't necessarily have to be right. That's not an objective statement. It is in your mind.
Here's the thing about players from the Dominican and from Cuba is they are here to swing bats. Right? They have to, because the saying goes, you can't walk off the island.
Right.
You gotta swing the bat. You cannot walk off the island. They're gonna swing the damn bat. They gotta believe they're better than you are.
Yeah, they have
not getting them out.
And why shouldn't they? And there was a similar situation. I had that game on. It was a Phillies game, and I can't remember who they were playing, but it was a game that Andrew McCutcheon wore a microphone for. Okay. And they even played the sound bites later on the Baseball Tonight podcast because this is how McCutcheon talks when he's just talking to himself. Yes. You're the best. You are the best. You are the best. And he's doing this, and he hits a home run. Andrew McCutcheon's great. He's like, damn, you are the best.
Yes.
Like, yeah, we can all learn something from that. Things I learned from baseball. Tell myself all the time, I am the best.
Yeah.
I only have to know it here.
That's it.
Anybody can come to me and say, well, Beth, you're not. And I'd be like, oh, but I know I am.
But you are, yeah. But you are.
Duh.
And who would want to come tell you that you're not? Who would want to do that?
Yeah, I know, right?
Anyone who would come and tell you that you're not the best doesn't deserve to have the best around. Right? That's got to be.
Yeah.
Of course you're the best.
That is correct. Yeah. I don't suppose you last long as a coach in baseball if your players said, I'm the best. And you said, well, no, you're not.
Well, your coach might say, well, that guy over there has something to say about it, right?
Yeah,
your coach might say that.
That's correct. Yeah. because it's a competition, and that's the best part. Yeah, that's the best part, man. Think more like a baseball player. Be totally entitled. Come up with your own shuffle, man. Come up with your own shuffle, whatever that looks like, and wear a mic and tell yourself and tell the world, I'm the best. Yeah,
absolutely,
man. I'm the best. I am the best. It's like, what, you really think you're better than him? Nope, I know it. I know that I'm better than that guy.
Gotta be.
I love that. So my top 5, because the way I was thinking about this was, people who make me want to watch baseball, or people who make me love baseball is this, there's this ad that they're showing, I think, for MLB The Show. I think that's the only thing it is, but it features Tatis Jr. saying that they've asked him to apologize for changing the game, and it's all different now, and this is. And I want it to be that different. I want all of not just the flair, but the talent that is Fernando Tatis Jr. to do.
Yeah, I was reminded about the Rangers being mad that Tatis hit that damn home run.
Right, yeah.
They complained because the unwritten rules were you're up by X amount of runs or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't need to be hitting a home run now. Yes, I do.
Eric Hosmer sitting around giving him the business because he went out there and did his best.
Yeah.
Right? I remember saying in a previous podcast this year that I couldn't remember why I'm supposed to hate the Rangers, and then John Boy Media helped me remember why I hate the Rangers.
I'm on the John Boy Media for the rest of the afternoon. Seriously, you have turned me on to my new favorite YouTube channel, I think. Yeah, I'm going to be running those clips, and yes, I want that to just burn its way all the way through all the teams.
Completely reminded me. Oh yeah, that's right. That's why I hate the Rangers. They complain.
Yeah. Don't complain, man. Just do it. Step up and do it yourself. Right.
Yep.
And that's what I want. So Nando probably top makes me want to watch baseball, and reminds me why I love baseball, because he's just so much fun. The charisma, I think, is what I'm looking for. The charisma teamed with the talent would be Nando. It would be Manny Machado. It would be Tim Anderson. You and I had him in common. I think Jose Abreu, because he's just indestructible, apparently. I mean he might not be, and I hope I don't find out.
He had a collision right around home plate, and was day to day, and I sat the guy, and I was like, oh man, he's got to go on a concussion protocol. Yeah, he's gonna miss a couple games. Nope, he played the next day.
Yeah, he did. Hit a home run.
Hit a home run.
Very, very good. And who else? I still groove on Bryce Harper. I love
and Mookie Betts.
I love the attitude.
You're a Mookie Betts. You're a Mookie Betts girl.
Mookie Betts. I mean, Mookie Betts and Tim Anderson, for a very similar reason, is that they are just so. I don't know. Andrew McCutcheon's the same way. It's like from here all the way down to the cleats. You are so focused and put together, and you are the man. You just know it, and it's true, and that is so compelling. I mean, I want to watch that like all the time. And plus, with Mookie Betts especially, but with all these guys, but I guess Mookie Betts to me is such a successful base stealer, and I just love stolen bases. So I want to always make sure I see Mookie Betts on first, so I can see what's going to happen, and and Harper, and obviously Ohtani has captured my interest, and made me really love watching baseball. So
I pray for Ohtani.
Yes.
Because I feel like I like that Ohtani wants to pitch and hit. Right? I get that this is the thing that he wants to do, but the same way we're talking about Christian Yelich's back problems, I think that the force that Major League Baseball requires you to put on your body, the torque on every part of your body to do both of these very specialized things and do them at high levels is dangerous. Yeah. Right? But and I don't know if it's the kind of thing where maybe he needs to be like in a situation where he doesn't have to pitch as many innings. Yeah. He's playing for a bad team, Well, they're a better team now than they usually are. But what would Shohei Ohtani be like on the Dodgers or the Nationals? Oh, right?
Don't you wish you could see that?
Where you didn't have to where you didn't need to leverage him as much, right? To have success. Because the rest of the team was already good. Shohei Ohtani on the Astros would have less pressure on him, right? Shohei Ohtani could go out there and pitch long enough to have an official game, and go sit his ass down somewhere.
Yeah.
right? And he doesn't necessarily, he is a case of not having to strike everybody out, because those guys, not only are they going to they're going to pick the ball up, but they're going to also hit home runs.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
So yeah, so that's another my one pitcher on this list. I wasn't thinking of Ohtani as a pitcher so much as just a phenom. A phenom. Sorry. The pitcher is Max Scherzer forever. Sure. That guy is so electrifying, even if he's not necessarily the best. I mean,
yeah.
Jacob deGrom is just sort of like flat line amazing. Where Scherzer is just like, oh, he's just crackling. He's just crackling.
The MVP of the Mets is Jacob deGrom's therapist.
Yeah.
Whoever it is preventing Jacob deGrom from realizing.
Yeah.
Yes. Jacob deGrom just understanding that wins are not a valuable stat. Yeah. They're not a stat that matters, because he has nothing to do with wins. That's got to be it.
Yeah.
Got to be it.
That's well, the skill and the talent, yeah, but I'm just really thinking about guys that make me want to watch, like I gotta see this, it's like sending energy into my eyeballs, and
if a game is on and Shane Bieber's pitching, I'd watch that.
Oh yeah, anytime. Yeah, you're right. Shane Bieber. Actually, there's a lot of incredibly good pitchers whose names I don't even know yet. There's a lot of good pitching. Obviously, there's a lot of good pitching. People are complaining about that. The pitchers are too good. Let's complain about that. It's like, these athletes are so extraordinarily talented. Let's complain about that.
So MLB Now is on here, okay. And they were just showing a play that happened yesterday between Manny Machado and Tommy Edman. Okay. Machado's running the second, but I think he's caught in the rundown, because Edman has a ball and he's kind of at the second base position, but he's not by the bag. Machado's made it nowhere near the bag, and Machado goes to slide halfway between first and second, but he rises up underneath Edman, who's trying to throw the ball to first base, right?
Wow.
And Edman goes tumbling over him. So the question was he up to no good? Was that a dirty play? So I guess they're debating whether or not that was a dirty play. To me, it looked like an unfortunate play that is borderline dirty, but I'm not going to call it a dirty play. But then they showed at some point another Albert Belle play where Albert Belle is running to second base, and Fernando Vina gets right in the base, right in front of him in his path, and Albert Belle just punched the guy. Okay, that's a dirty play, because Albert Belle was like, yo, I'm running here, and you just put yourself in front of me. I gotta punch you.
Well, now we can't do it anymore because there might be children watching, and there might be children watching.
You can't punch the second baseman who's hoping to tag you out by bodily blocking your path. You better just swipe him, hit him on the butt as he runs past you. Don't get in Albert Belle's way. Machado at least went down.
Plays at the plate. My dance teacher told me a couple of weeks ago that he wishes they'd bring home plate collisions back. He really misses the home plate collision.
I think they were exciting to watch if you're as a baseball fan or whatever back in the day. But I'm kind of glad we don't really have that, because I just don't need guys concussed for 2 weeks.
Well, you don't need that. Plus, reading up on it, because I thought I wonder. Patrick is my dance teacher's name. Patrick's talking about like excitement, and I agree with him. That's like real excitement. But then I went and kind of looked at I consulted a few sources, and it dawned on me that not colliding at the plate, but actually doing a swipe tag, you're going to get more out.
So exciting! Yes.
Yeah, and also exciting, and more successful. That's Actually, I think Patrick was kind of kidding.
Show him that Randy Rosarina playoff play last year, where he's basically swimming the home plate. You won't need a collision at the plate. You just need guys determined to get there somehow by hook or by crook.
Guys who can swim through mud and dirt and clay. Yeah, that's. And wouldn't you rather see that anyway?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think I like the swipe tag a lot better. I don't miss the collisions. They used to be pretty fun to watch. And I've been watching baseball long enough that was the norm for most of my time as a fan to date, right? But I'm not missing it. And I know Buster Posey, it's like, no way are you going to miss it, right? But, oh my goodness, right? So don't let that happen to me, please. So this is the first year that I have not had a catcher on my list of guys who make baseball thrilling to watch.
Because it's a different kind of year for your St. Louis guy.
Yeah, Yeah,
Yeah,
for Yachty, yeah, it's a different
yeah,
kind of year for him. Yeah, I still love to see Adam Wainwright pitch. I'm very excited on Adam
sure.
Wainwright Day, but with, I mean, I think honestly, Yachty has been so consistent and so stable. It's like the foundation stone of your house. You don't pay much attention to it because it's
Yes,
there, and yeah, there's no like, I don't know what it is, but Arenado, incredibly exciting to watch.
sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
Arenado, people who are that passionate about baseball, all over baseball, you want to watch them. So what is, because I don't get it. Maybe you can explain this to me and to Legion of Fan. What is wrong with baseball? If we can just casually, without even looking at lists, name all these players that thrill us to bits, all these fantastic plays that we've seen in the last 2 to 3 years, the flair, the excitement, the bat swinging and the shuffles and the I'm better than you and the pitching and the hitting. What is so wrong? Why do they keep trying to fix baseball? What needs to be fixed?
Yeah, I think that right. Nothing needs to be fixed. I think it just needs to be shown.
Yeah.
Right. Like you don't have to fix it. The game's fine.
Yeah.
You know, we don't need to move the mound back and
Nope.
all this weird nonsense. We don't need the unwritten rules, right? All we need to do is just show people some baseball.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Put it on.
Yeah.
Baseball now is like, you want to watch a baseball game? Well, it's going to be on ESPN. It's not on, ABC, NBC. It's not like they made it so it can be consumed on a train, or it can be consumed on a plane, or it can be consumed in the park on a mobile device or whatever, right? But like, I kind of think that whenever I'm like going past the park and I see kids playing baseball or like a softball game, I stop for a minute to watch.
Yeah,
right?
I do too.
Because it's interesting. It is interesting to see people still enjoying it, you know. And I feel like baseball should just show baseball being played and awesome things happening, and then people, when the game is on, I don't think there's no problem managing to like kind of like market baseball with the hot dog and the ribs and the corn dogs. Yeah, market the fun around things that happen at baseball parks. Absolutely do that. But don't just do that to people already watching baseball.
Right.
That's my issue with it. You know, you've made it so that you're constantly marketing yourself to people who are already in.
Right.
So how about show some of these awesome things happening in baseball? Like, these are good looking athletes out here doing amazing things. Right. You're going to have to spend some dollars to get some advertising and some of these highlights in front of some of these people on these other channels.
Right.
Show some of this. Show like Juan Soto doing weird things on HGTV.
Yeah.
Just buy the spot already. Yeah. Someone's going to be like, oh, I want to go see that player. That's a good looking young guy right there. Yeah. Where's he play? Plays in our town? Let's go. You know, like that kind of thing. Like show Randy Rosarina swimming the home plate.
Right.
The kind of things people think baseball is boring because they're just not seeing baseball.
Right.
And yes, some elements of baseball are absolutely boring.
Manny Margot made that catch during the
and tumbled over the wall.
Went right over the wall. Yeah, show that over and over again. Like these guys are willing to do. What these guys are willing. Yeah, show it. And because I know we've talked about this already a number of times, and I think we agree about this. Sometimes definitely there are so many marketing opportunities that baseball's missing. It stuns me that you and I know so many ways to market baseball. That there's
like everything to really sell. You want to sell like your heroic baseball team, whatever. Well, when the Houston Astros come, everybody loves to hate a villain. So when the Houston Astros come, play those highlights of hearing those, where you can hear those trash can banging noises.
Yeah.
Play those highlights. Like, these guys are coming to town. Don't you want to beat these guys? I happen to also like those guys. But yes, you want to also see those guys. If you can see those guys get beat, like, show those ads in front of other popular shows that people are also watching. Right. To give them the idea, you know what? You could be someplace right now watching a baseball game.
Right. Now, are people watching? Because I think that was kind of, I was thinking recently, you had told me that you watch cartoons because you have them on shuffle and you just like boot them up and watch cartoons. And I was so jealous of that. That's really stuck in my head. It's like, I need to get some cartoons and put them on shuffle. That sounds awesome. And I watch so much television without watching television, right? Like I watch Netflix, no ads. I watch Acorn TV, no ads. I watch baseball, but I watch it usually when it's not live, and I don't know. easy enough to just tune out the ads. So at what point are you no longer reaching people anymore because of how they are watching television to begin with?
Yeah, I think that like in the case of baseball consumed without ads would also be a good thing. But like right now we're in a situation where they're not even attempting to reach people who aren't already watching baseball.
Right. That's right.
So we're not even in a position of having critical mass yet. We just aren't even trying.
Right.
You know, we're basically counting on parents to pass it down to their kids. So generationally, we're going to just grow the game through the households who are already watching.
Right.
But we're missing the boat on like the great analysis. We're missing like all the awesome things that happen around. Hell, even minor league games have like some amazing traditions and like quirks that are driving distance from a lot of people's towns. You know, a short drive will get you to a minor league game if affordability is the issue. They're not even doing that.
Right.
You know, because the minor leagues are basically an entire separate business from MLB, except for you're working hand in hand. So if you can't afford a Cubs or a Sox ticket, and on some days you absolutely can, right? Well, the Kane County Cougars are just over there.
Wow.
Right? Go see them. There's a the Chicago Dogs are a minor league team. They're an independent minor league team that play just outside of O'Hare Airport. Right? And it's about hot dogs. Like, go there.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Like you can get there by train in this town.
That's
you know?
Awesome.
Like you can see the airport from the field practically. Like they're that close. You know, there's baseball that can be had that ain't even got to be MLB. So just go up. But if no one wants to advertise outside of you being already in the ballpark, then we got a problem.
Right.
You know, I'll hear ads for like Chicago Dogs and various other minor league things. I'll hear them on like sports radio sometimes. And it's like, well, I'm only hearing it because I'm already listening to sports radio.
Exactly.
And it's summer. But like, okay, why not, you know, kick in some money for a combined, like kind of a, I don't know, like a co-op pot or something like that, where get yourself a TV ad, you know, because the weekend's coming up. And what do you guys want to do this weekend? Come on out and check out the Chicago Dogs.
Right.
You know? I had a friend who a couple of years ago had a birthday party at I think it was 2019. She had a birthday party at the Chicago Dogs game, and like for the skybox area, it wasn't really a skybox. It was like just kind of like second level or whatever. But we were able to watch the game in there, and they had all these like kind of like buffet taco stand and hot dog stand or whatever. But also, you just walk right out the door and you're practically on the field. It was a great experience. You could walk around the entire thing while the game's going on. It was cool. And kids were everywhere. It was a great thing, a great time. Like, yeah, grow the game. You can grow the game if you just advertise the game to people who aren't literally already watching your product.
Yeah, it's the only way to do it.
Can you imagine like if burger places only advertise burgers like once you were already in the parking lot? You know, like that's what that's kind of like, you know?
That is what it's kind of like. Yeah. So we need to keep brainstorming some really great ad content, right? So we've got Jazz Chisholm advertising like Lucky Charms and showing up on the box, right? I don't know. You could have a whole parade of guys on Wheaties boxes. I assume Wheaties are still out there.
I guess Wheaties probably are, but like, yeah, I personally haven't seen a Wheaties box in a long time, but they gotta still be around.
Yeah.
You can advertise. Use the guys with the best names in baseball to be your pitch guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chisholm.
Yeah. Well, and plus he's on
Pop-Tarts.
record as having Lucky Charms for breakfast, and so
yes, put him on a Lucky Charms box.
Who else do you want? I mean, you want somebody who loves your product, right?
Yes.
So we need to find out, like, because I think Tim Anderson would be an awesome salesman for whatever it is. Like, if it's Wheaties. You know, I mean, I remember Wheaties from the old days when the top athletes
sure
put up, like, you know,
everybody wanted a Wheaties ad. You know, like you made it when you got a Wheaties
ad. And Bruce Jenner, who's, you know, Caitlyn Jenner now, but I mean, when he was Bruce Jenner, you know, Mark Spitz. Wow, now I'm having trouble remembering, but it seems to me that, you know,
everyone got it. There was Mary Lou Retton had a Wheaties spot.
Seems to me Kareem was there. Tennis was a bigger deal back then. I'm sure Jimmy Connors, you know, John McEnroe, they had their Wheaties moments, and now, yeah, I think it would have to be Tim Anderson. Would just have to be
Jake Cronenworth for Pop-Tarts.
Okay, that is Nando's territory.
He's got Gatorade. or whatever various vitamin water or something he's
That's
pitching.
right. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Nando for Gatorade. Actually, I think, yeah, Nando for almost anything, but Wheaties is a little too buttoned down, I think, for Nando.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
weird because the name Wheaties is so silly that it shouldn't have to be
It's true.
buttoned down. Wheaties is pretty fun, you know? So, so yeah. All right. So maybe one thing that we could do now, I know I'm putting you on the spot a little bit,
Okay.
but
like it.
last time we ran through a list of players, and I think, where did I write that down? Where did I write that down? I wrote it down somewhere. Most impactful, most special, most promising, most charismatic. I think I want to add player I would most like to meet. And since and I know I just totally threw it to you with no preparation last time, and we did the White Sox, and I thought maybe this time, because it'll be easiest, because you're in Chicago, would be to do the same thing but do the Cubs.
Okay, the Cub I most like to meet. The Cub I most like to meet, honestly, Ian Happ is my favorite Cubs player, because he came up outside of that core of like young players who were like getting to the World Series or whatever. He was at next level of like, or next generation of guys up. And I just was like, I always thought, what must that be like? Like you're coming into the clubhouse of we beat the curse 100 losing seasons, that kind of thing, or like not 100 losing seasons, but 100 years of not winning the World Series or whatever the hell that is, 108 years. Like now you're showing up and you're that next young guy up in what is now an established clubhouse of the dudes who broke the curse. What does that feel like? And he's a good player, it turns out, right? And he's like, he likes coffee. Like he loves coffee. Like this guy's a good guy. Like he's like my favorite young Cub at this point, But Chris Bryant is absolutely a fantastic guy I'd like to meet someday. But I think I became an Ian Happ guy somehow, because it just seemed like when he was up in spring training, when they weren't even giving him like the regular job, all he did was hit. He just you just needed him to, and he just did. And now I hear him. He does like a regular radio spot with our local sports guys here on sports radio in this town. And I've heard him speak so many times. I just like this guy. And I also decided I'd also like to meet Mitch Haniger of the Mariners. Because with all the Mariners trouble, right? Like they don't have a Griffey. They have a bunch of young, good players, but Mitch Haniger is like the veteran now who just got to do it year in and year out, and he's sticking it out. And he's up there in Seattle and nobody knows who this guy is around the country, but he's like, a 35 home run guy, right? Up there doing it without like a bunch of household names around him. So I just decided Mitch Haniger, I'd like to meet Mitch Haniger someday. I'm still just sticking it out, man. And here come the kids. The Mariners kids are coming up now. So he's going to be playing with some young dudes,
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see a few Mariners games over the next few weeks, because as long as they're at home, I can pick up a late night baseball game.
Oh, good. Yeah.
That makes me happy.
Yeah,
that makes me very happy.
You're closer to their coast.
Who's the player you'd most like to meet on the White Sox?
On the White Sox, the player I'd most like to meet is Jose Abreu or Tim Anderson. Generally, Tim Anderson, because like just that guy again. He also came up as the young guy on the established team, but now he's the established guy. He's the veteran with all the young guys coming up, right? And he handled it fantastically and just got better and better and better. Lucas Giolito, I like to meet him.
Yeah.
Watching him develop has just been awesome.
So back to the Cubs then. Who do you think is the most impactful player?
Most impactful player of the Cubs this year is Chris Bryant.
Yeah.
Chris Bryant, and maybe it's like because he knows they might be trading him, but maybe he just stopped thinking about it.
Yeah.
I think he just stopped thinking about it. Like, stop worrying about a contract, stop thinking about whether or not you'll be traded, and just go up there and play like you can play.
Yeah.
And suddenly things don't ache like they used to ache. Suddenly, like your mechanics are just better than they were before. He's playing at his like MVP season level, right? Like that can't be denied.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think sometimes maybe just getting it all out of your head and it gets you into a flow. You can just get into a
Yeah.
zone where you're just there to play.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm getting some of that from meditation, right? Where all this other stuff, all this chatter, all this noise, it's like, whatever. Yeah. There's a time and a place to think about that. But where I am right now is right here.
Yes. Yep.
Right. And I think that this is something that, you know, regular people like me can learn from meditation, but it's a basic requirement for excelling as an athlete at a very high level, is
Yes.
you have to be able to clear everything out and just be right there, or you're going to mess up or
Yep.
not be your best or fall short or whatever. Yeah. So this is his year for that. Who do you think is the most special player on the Cubs?
What's special player on the Cubs? A guy who just kind of should be able to do it all, and when he puts it all together, it's just hilarious to watch. It is Javier Baez.
Yeah.
You know, like Javier Baez has the ability to play at an MVP level. He can offensively, he can do it. Defensively, he can do it. Right? He just like there's times in which he's playing a different game than everyone else is playing.
Yeah.
He goes back to being a kid playing baseball and just doing wacky things.
Yeah.
And that's like the identity of your team is that sometimes, right? This guy out there just doing wacky crap and getting away with it. You know, it's fun. He makes it fun. He keeps everybody loose. Like when he's not going well, you can tell the team is down. Because Javier Baez isn't doing so well, right?
Okay.
When he's doing well, you can tell the entire team it's infectious.
Yeah.
You know? It's like when I watch Jason Hayward hit, right? And I realized that Jason Hayward is out there not necessarily trying to hit home runs. He's just trying to make something happen. Everybody's waiting for 40 home runs out of Jason Hayward, but you're getting what you're getting out of Jason Hayward because he knows the entire time just kind of what his role is on the team and what's needed for the team to be successful. And it might not be 3-run homers every time he comes up to the plate, right? The kind of mentality you have to do that, I think is solid. But when he gets a home run or a great hit, the team lights up, right? Because for that guy, like they want it for that dude. And I think that's awesome. Like that's special to have a player that like everyone is still with you, even when it appears that you're struggling or that you're not having your best days. You're not having the year you used to have or what the years you've had in the past. You're not having that right now. Something else is happening. When that goes on and then you go out there and something good happens for you, your whole team just blows up, like you're a special player.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Do you remember, not this past season, but the one before, when Adrian Beltre, I don't know who it was he hugged, but he hugged somebody between second and third. He just like
yes.
So then Javi Baez turned around and did the same thing. He might have hugged Beltre. I don't remember, but they started this hugging thing going. And it was hilarious and it was fun. And that's the kind of thing we want to see. I mean, opposing players in a hug, like actually hugging in a place of contest is just so cool.
Yes.
It's so cool. But I also wondered if there wasn't something semi-practical about it, because there's this thing we do during dance lessons, right? Where, you know, a lot of the dances that we do, like especially the waltzing and the foxtrot, is you're whirling so fast and you're moving so fast and you're kind of driving across the floor at like, you know, your topmost speed, but you're also constantly braking and stopping and, you know, and turning. And so balance is just so important.
Yeah.
And because you're dependent on each other is part of the problem, right? If one of you loses your balance, the other one does too. And you're holding each other up, and so what we do to keep it safe, right, is if one of us loses our balance, we just like instantly we just fall into a hug.
Okay.
And that's like our safety place. Like, okay, we're safe. We're hugging, you know, instead of like tumbling across the floor.
Sure.
And so it's nice too. Hugs are nice, but it made me wonder if there wasn't some level of that happening when Adrian Beltre threw down his first embrace.
Absolutely.
And because it was that, or it was had the kind of collision that Abreu had, right?
Or Albert Belle punched the guy out of the way, right? You don't want that.
Yeah, you can hug the guy or you can hit him in the face. Yeah. Totally. I love the hugs. So on the Cubs, who is the most promising player on the Chicago Cubs?
Currently, I think that what we're looking for is pitching. So Albert Belle is the like kind of the next level up and coming young pitcher, right? That then this is kind of what they need. They need to develop pitching. So
Yeah.
I consider him to be like the most promising, because this year he's gonna, I think, have a slightly above average year, but next year is gonna be the year where it's like that guy, you have to watch out for him, right? He will figure something out a year from now.
Okay.
Even with the year he's having now, he's not having a bad year now, right? But I think that's the guy. You know, Nico Horner too. Like Nico Horner is solid at second base. He hits everything. He's not a power guy, right? But like he's an average guy. He's a 4 average guy. He's an on base guy. Like, yeah, like these are going to be the 2 guys to watch as the Cubs get reshuffled or whatever because of contracts and all this. Nico Horner and Albert Belle are going to be part of your new core.
All right. So what about the most charismatic of the Cubs?
The most charismatic Cub is still Javier Baez.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's absolutely the most charismatic of the Cubs. Yeah.
That goes together.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to revisit the ones we talked about last time with the White Sox to see if anything's changed or confirmed.
Okay.
From what we said that the most impactful player was Yermin Mercedes.
So far, yeah.
Yeah, feel right.
I think it's the only change would be like he might be coming back to earth a little bit, but like that beginning of the season, absolutely impactful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I thought it might be worth revisiting this a little bit. Yeah.
Right. Because you can't forget Jose Abreu's year, right? But like Jose Abreu's year, we weren't even talking about that dude in April.
Right. That's right. I think he might overtake you. I mean, pretty quick. Just you know, if he wow. I mean, I am noticing Jose Abreu in a way I never did before. Just never did before, and especially after Robert got hurt and he went out, you know, that who is playing for 2 now is Abreu.
Yep.
He's really bringing it, and he's not the only one, but I'm so blown away by him. So blown away. We said that the most special player was Tim Anderson. I'm gonna say that hasn't changed.
Yep.
This is the one I thought we should really revisit. We said that, and not to change it, but to say, wow, are we ever smart? Because we said that the most promising player was Yoan Moncada.
Yep.
Look at how he's been playing.
Absolutely.
Look at how he's been playing. So he's fulfilling that promise. We might just have to take him out just because he's fulfilling it and come up with somebody new. But it's finally the year that Yoan Moncada is hitting 300. It's finally that year.
Sure.
It's awesome to see. It's just awesome to see, and it's almost a little bit terrifying, you know, that to see how big these guys are. It's kind of a little bit terrifying. It was a little bit terrifying to see Luis Robert go across first base with a torn hip flexor, because he's so big and his momentum was so intense that I think he lost his hip flexor about 2 strides shy of first base.
Correct. Yeah.
But he had so much momentum that he just ran another 5 or 6 steps on one leg.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, it was stunning to me to see that somebody that big could get going that fast. That is worth waking up to.
Right.
And same with Moncada and same with Abreu. These guys are just so big and strong, you know, and Eloy Jimenez was too, but I don't know what's going to happen with him. But that's a thing. That's a thing. Yeah, it's remarkable to see the power that is coming out finally. And our most charismatic player was Lucas Giolito. Do we still?
Yeah. Well, so I'm wondering. I think it's still Giolito, but I'm going to add Yasmani Grandal.
Yeah.
Because it is something to have a good veteran young catcher who is not just like he's called great games for Giolito and called great games for Carlos Rodon, but also this guy is second in the league in walks.
Oh, wow.
Right? Which is weird. People are complaining in a way because he's not hitting, but he's not hitting because he's walking.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and it's hard to complain that this dude's on base percentage is looking pretty damn good here.
Yeah.
Because he is getting on, which is like, I'm like, go that guy.
Yeah.
You know? But for his position, that's normally a swing the bat position. And he's a swing the bat guy, but he's like, he was explaining it as, well, when I'm up the plate, now what I'm looking for is I'm only swinging if they throw me the pitch I actually want to hit.
Okay.
If they're throwing me pitches I don't want to hit, I'm just not swinging.
Right.
You know, like, yes.
And if they're going to give me a walk, why shouldn't I take it?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, now
Good
I'm
stuff.
kind of worried that we have confused Gomes and Yasmani Grandal as far as the player with the Dodgers yips. Do you have?
Oh, Grandal was definitely a Dodger, but I don't. Okay, yeah.
Okay, he was the one. Well, we are very sorry in advance, Gomes.
Yes.
Having said these things about
we might have been Grandal.
I'm so
we were
sorry.
talking about. Yes.
But, you know, if you have two catchers whose initials are YG at the same time, I think we can be.
I had not even considered that. And Gomes has played everywhere.
Yeah.
I
guess if we just say YG, we can't go wrong. But you know, we got to separate this out. So yeah, I think maybe that was Grandal. Still, the thing stands. Whether it's Gomes or Yasmani Grandal that we're talking about, we're talking about guys that have been playing baseball for a long time.
Yes.
And right now are playing with really good teams and deserve a lot of the credit for that. Deserve a lot of the credit for their role in these teams being really, really good. So that's that. And if you want to not have to bother with prepping this same lightning round for next week, I figure next week we can just do the Mariners, since you know who's on and who you're thinking about. There's no prep. That way we're fine.
Okay.
And so one last question, which is two-pronged, but I'm worried that Legion of Fan might be confused sometimes whether this is a general baseball podcast or if it's a White Sox grounded baseball podcast. And I don't think that we are a White Sox podcast.
No, and I think the White Sox are such a good team.
Yes.
They're going to get talked about a lot.
Yes,
but I think our fan base in general are like people who probably are like most of America not actually watching baseball.
Right.
So like they get to hear excitement about exciting players and exciting teams. I think they're happy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They're happy. And, I don't think we don't have fans. I don't think we have fans who are like, why don't they ever talk about the Royals?
We don't have anything like that. I'm sure we don't. Especially since we talk about the White Sox so much. Anybody who wants us to talk about the Royals is probably sick of us and stopped listening, right?
Yes.
Those people. That's just a White Sox podcast are saying. But
it is entirely possible we might spend half an episode at some point talking about the Expos, right? Knowing us, because we're baseball nerds, but we aren't like going around the horn, right? Like covering the entire league.
I'm going to be super nerdy because Albert Belle was an Expo, right?
I know Tim Raines and Andre Dawson were. I don't know if Albert Belle was.
Okay.
I remember him definitely being. I remember him being an Indian most of his career. Was he an Expo?
Was he an Expo?
Could he have survived in the same clubhouse with regular, like kind of with actual well-balanced mental states of Andre Dawson and Tim Raines?
No, okay, so he was Indians, White Sox, and Orioles.
Okay, all right.
That's who he played for. So I do not know who he would have been playing back in the day. But after I first moved to Toronto, one of the first things I did was I went to a baseball game. For context, I moved to Toronto in 1987. So in 87 or the fall of 88, no, it would have definitely been in 87. I went to my first baseball game.
Okay.
And at that time, Toronto didn't have what you might call a proper stadium. You know, baseball wasn't really very big there. And so they hadn't built that big dome thing that they call the Rogers Center now.
Right. Yeah.
That was not erected. And I feel like I'm remembering this wrong because it seems impossible to me, but that plot of land that the Rogers Center is built on is right on the shore of Lake Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
It's shoreline stuff. And so the pleasure of going to a baseball game in a Toronto summer is that Toronto is like horribly hot in the summertime. I mean, deathly hot. And you go down, you get a lake breeze. It's very nice. You watch a baseball game. And, but I was seeing teams I'd never seen before. Because I don't know, maybe this isn't very nerdy of me. I know so little about the Blue Jays, but an American League team. And I have been, and Mets fans. I've been living in New York and going to Mets games. So I knew so much about the National League and so little about the American League. And so I'm going to guess that the Indians or the White Sox were in town or the Orioles, but I'm going to guess it was Indians or White Sox. And I went to see a Toronto Blue Jays game. And And when Albert Belle would come up to bat, everybody in the stands, not everybody, but enough, would pull out these cowbells and start ringing them.
Oh,
yes. Which sounds really supportive, right? And my one of my first Canadian friends who had taken me to this game had told me that Canadians are just that polite, right? That that if they can honor a great player in some way, they will. And all these people were actually bringing bells to the game and ringing the bells every time you came to bat. It wasn't a taunt. It was a, hey, dude, good to see you. You're a good player. And I thought that was
hit many home runs against our team. We respect that.
Yeah. And so, yeah, we're going to ring as many bells as there were home runs. And so there I am sitting there on this beautiful Toronto night on the shore of Lake Ontario in a non-domed stadium. It was just open aired stadium that was pretty small by certainly what you see now. With a really lovely baseball game going on with like super polite fans and people ringing bells for this opposing player who was obviously somebody much loved and somebody very important at that time.
That's cool.
Sort of my Albert Belle story. Yeah, well, because I was young and I was still trying to figure baseball out.
Sure.
That was
that's awesome.
That was some pretty great stuff. Yeah. I don't like the new stadium. Because I know what we lost. It was a loss to lose that lake freeze in the summertime. They're probably a little better in September, October if you don't have Canadian cold coming in.
Sure. Yep.
All right. So, but I think that we might actually give the wrong impression that this seems like a White Sox podcast just because you're in Chicago, so you have lots of cool White Sox stuff to share.
Sure.
The rest of us don't get to hear because we don't have the local sports radio like you do.
Yep.
But also because I'm just a fan of the White Sox personally, and they are such a
and the Rockies at times are eternally frustrating.
The Rockies are eternally frustrating.
Love the players,
but
the management and ownership got some problems.
They don't make a commitment to us. To the fans, they really don't care. I knew people for the longest time had season tickets. They were so loyal, and they gave up. Everybody just gave up. We still go to the games because it's such a pleasant experience. Coors Field is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It's really like this totally no pressure environment because nobody's like rabidly rooting for their team. So nothing scary ever happens. It's like really chill. And you just kind of, I don't drink beer, but most people do. And you just kind of have a drink of some sort with the people around you. You've never met and never see again. And it's chill. In the conversations with people like, okay, if you had the seed money to start a baseball team, who on the field right now would you start with?
Yeah.
Fun conversations like that, or whose uniform do you like the best? But the other reason that this might be, and this is really what we really need to talk about real quick, obviously, is the dropped third strike.
Yep.
Because there is such a strong White Sox reference to that.
Yes.
But as we have seen recently, the dropped third strike did not go away in AJ.
It did not.
Not.
There were a lot of them in the last week or so.
So that started some interesting conversation around the baseball world about the dropped third strike and whether it's a weird rule. I don't see. To me, it's not weird. It just was never enforced, and so now it seems weird, right? And so that's, you
can see it when players when it's dropped, players have to remember to run.
Yeah.
They're not like, holy shit, he dropped it, I'm running. It's like, oh, I can run.
Yeah.
That's what it's like.
That's it. And why not get tagged? So I didn't see that game. That was actually when I had the vaccine, the second dose, and I really wasn't in my best shape. I did get a nap in. And so I put the game on, went to sleep, woke up, heard the announcers screaming in excitement because it had been a no-hitter. And then it wasn't. I know it wasn't a perfect game. It was a no-hitter because of that dropped third strike. I never saw it. I don't know. I don't really know what happened there. But why did you and I, decide to title our podcast
Drop Third Strike?
Yeah.
I just remember us coming up. I came up with a lot of different names.
You did.
And that one sort of like leapt out because we were talking about the White Sox.
Right.
And weird things that have happened in baseball.
Right.
And that AJ Przinsky play.
Yeah.
And that's how we came about it, was like that play was so improbable.
Yep.
And without that play, the White Sox don't even go to the World Series. They don't go to the play. I think that was how they got to the World Series, was basically that play.
Yep.
won them a series,
Yeah.
right? Which that's it. That's what did it.
They were playing the Angels in ALCS.
Yeah.
Yep.
Without that, Brzezinski's out, and then they're done.
Right.
Yeah.
And we were speculating about the level and the extent of Brzezinski's guile.
Yeah.
That particular play, because we could only imagine that he knew this rule. He knew that everybody just routinely ignored it, an unwritten rule, right?
Yep.
We're just not going to bother with that. And he had it in his back pocket, and he was waiting for just the right moment.
Yep. Because he didn't start immediately.
Yeah.
He kind of was walking.
Yeah.
Then he started running.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, what's going on?
Yeah. And now he's standing on first, and he's looking like he really belongs there. Yeah. It's like, what's going on? So I don't know how long he carried that around with him, but he picked his moment. He really picked his moment, because if he'd done it any other time in that entire season or even an earlier season, that opportunity would have gone away.
Absolutely. He
really picked his moment, and that is what blows my mind, and that's why I love it. That's why I love that's why I love it. So
agreed.
That is what I want to say in sum about Dropped Third Strike. Yeah. All right. So next week we'll talk about all the most whatevers on the Mariners, and also catch up on what's happened in baseball.
All right. Next week we'll do the Mariners and the Cardinals.
We'll do the Mariners and the Cardinals. All right. 1 1 NL every week. What do you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And then Legion of Fan, if you want more commentary on why we're doing this, and if you want to get a name in, feel free.
Yeah.
To I guess leave a comment, and we'll be moving. So we're moving along.
All right.
Baseball. And so in the meantime, life is just so very simple. People just turn into the love.
Turn into the love, everybody.
Into the love. See you next week.
Thanks, Beth.
Thank you, Terry. Bye.